Hi, welcome to the leather making course from Scuola del Cuoio. My name is Ted Teo and I'm one of the instructor for this course. Okay, so a little bit about the course itself. So the leather making course is actually available in two levels. We have the artisan level as well as the apprentice level. The apprentice level course runs for 10 weeks, whereas the artisan level course runs from 17 weeks. Plus, students are able to do a 3 weeks open lab. So, for the difference between the two courses, students start off from the same level, which is the apprentice level. They do the same bags, followed by, after that, for the students who are going to the artisan level, they will do another additional models of bags itself. So a little bit of history about Scuola del Cuoio. So Scuola del Cuoio was actually founded in the 1950s by the Franciscan friars of the Church of Scuola del Cuoio, the Church of Santa Croce. Okay? It was started as a social activities because after the Second World War, there were a lot of orphans in the city of Pisa. So in order for them to be able to find a way to earn a living, the Franciscan friars decided to find a way to train them in various kind of trade. So they approached the Gori family, which is the founder of the Scuola del Cuoio, and they asked them to start a school because the Gori family was a traditional leather artisan in the city of Florence. So they asked them to come over to the church itself, and they started a leather course, teaching all these orphans on how to make leather. Okay. So why Florence? Just a little bit also history about this area itself. The area of Santa Croce used to be an area where all the traditional tanneries or the old tanneries of the cities used to be. So a lot of the old tanneries was around this area. The reason is because this is actually a low end of the river, the Arno River, and with the trade of tanning, you need a lot of water source for you to be able to do the tanning. So if you look around the area of Santa Croce itself, you see a lot of street name that is connected to leather tanning itself, like Via della Mosche, Via dei Tontori. So Via delle Mosche is basically the street of the flies because for this industry, because of the smell, it attracts a lot of flies. Via Tintori is basically the dye that you use for the tanning process itself. And then Florence itself, traditionally or as well as now, it has a very rich history in leather making. Okay, so even to today, you will see around the area of Tuscany or around the area of the Florence itself, there is a lot of leather factories, a lot of leather production going on in this area, and it is the example of the leather making in Italy and the excellence of leather work in Italy. For that reason, we have this history as well as this experience of leather making itself. Okay, so to talk about materials, so you can see that while we are doing the course itself, we will give the students a chance to learn the different kind of material that's available for leather making. So these are some of the examples of materials that's widely available for leather making. The most common ones that we will use are the various kind of calf skin. Okay, so these are calf skin itself, the stamped calf skin, or calf skin that is a little bit treated. Okay. On top of that, we will also be able to show you different kind of deer skin, sheep skin, and lamb skin. Okay, so these are basically the materials that the students will get to use when they are doing the project. On top of that, we will also show you, but of course not available for use, all the exotic skins that is available in the market, like for example, crocodile or alligator. We have also snake skin, okay, as well as ostrich skin. So when we are learning about the leather itself, not only do we learn about the various kind of leather that comes from various animals, we will also learn about how to use the different kind of leather for the projects that they're doing. For example, the kind of for the kind of consistency that they want the bag to have, the kind of feel or the overall look of the bag they want to have. So choosing the leather is also a very important part of the course itself. So if you choose a leather, for example, that is not suitable or not 100% suitable for the project that you are currently making, there are also a wide list of material that is available to the students, which can help you to give kind of like consistency or the kind of structure to the bag. Okay, so just a quick look at the materials that are available. So you can see from here, we have a lot of material that is available in the bag itself. So the student will get to know that when we are making a bag, it's not just purely leather, but there are also other materials that give structure, to give form to the leather itself. Okay, in a way, it's kind of like a helping hand for the leather. So you have the material like this, which is called salpa. So this is like a compressed leather itself. This kind of material gives a little bit of structure for parts where there's extra stress, or like for the parts where there's a handle or shoulder straps. Okay. Materials such as this gives you additional layer or additional volume to a leather. So when you are choosing a leather that is a little bit thinner than what you want, you can use this kind of material to reinforce it. So you get to learn as we go through the projects to tell what is the kind of consistency as well as a feel that you want your material to have. So at the end of the day, you don't just learn about leather itself, but you also learn about the supporting materials that's available for you to work together with your leather to achieve the kind of look that you want. So let's talk a little bit about how the course is going to be run. So as you know that we have the apprentice level and then we have the artisan level. So for the first part of the course, or the first 10 weeks, the artisan as well as apprentice, they basically do the same thing. Okay, so that the way that we run the course is that we will start with teaching the students some basic skills. For the very first day, we will show you how to use the different tools, as well as the safety measures that you need to be aware of when we are using all these tools itself. Okay. Then once we know how to use the tools, we will start off by doing small leather objects. The idea behind doing all the small leather objects is so that the students can learn how to use or how to acquire all the different skill sets that they will need when they are actually making their own leather handbags. So we start small. The way that we run the course is also we will show you as and when we do a new project, we will start with showing you how to create a pattern for that particular item. Okay, that way the students are able to independently later on to create their own patterns. Okay, and they are able to create their own design in the future. Okay, so that's the idea. The idea is that we are able to train the students to be independent so that they can come out with their own samples, can come out with their own products in the future. Okay, so these are some of the examples of the projects that we will be able to do during the course itself. So these are some samples that you will do. So the students can learn different kind of construction technique. For example, bags like this, where you have to do a kind of like a reverse inside sewing, and you learn how to do piping. Students learn how to apply a zipper. Okay, they learn how to do the folding technique. Okay, so they also learn the various kind of handles, so this kind of rounded tubular handles, flat handles like this, or strappy kind of handles like this. Okay, so when we are doing the course, for example, let's say we take this bag as an example. When we teach this kind of bag, what we are actually teaching is construction technique. So you can see that this is one kind of construction technique. When we are going through the pattern making itself, we teach you how to make a pattern for this kind of construction technique. So once you learn how to make the pattern of this kind of construction, based on this kind of construction, the student come up with their own project and come up with their own design. So in a way, we are able to kind of custom each project to the skill set of the student. A lot of students will ask us like whether or not they will need to have prior knowledge before starting the course, and the answer is no. Because the way we are teaching is that it's very flexible. Students who has less experience, they will start with something that is very basic. Students who have no experience at all, or student who has some prior experience, then they can do the same construction technique, but they can add different elements into the bag itself to make their project more complicated or a little bit more challenging. So in that case, everyone's doing the same project, but based on the skill set of the individual students, they can kind of like customize the actual project itself to their own skill set. So once we teach the students how to make the patterns, for example, or the different kind of pattern sets available, part of the process is also to learn, once you have your own completed pattern, to start making a sample. So a sample either in this material here, the salpa. From the salpa, you can see the dimension of the bag to see whether or not the pattern is up to what you imagine in your head. Because sometimes when you have an idea, if you don't have something physical to see, it's a little bit difficult to imagine how it looks like. So once we have the pattern made, we will normally ask the student to create a sample. From the sample, they make the necessary adjustment to the patterns itself. Okay. So once the student go through a few of these projects, they are able to be more or less independent in what they are able to do. So let's have a quick look at what the students are actually doing right now. Okay. So you can see that she's able to use the sewing machine to do all the sewing of all the pieces. So what she's doing right now is basically a kind of finishing technique for the leather. Basically, you can see that she's using an edge coating or edge painting the leather. So this is a very important technique that students need to learn in order for you to do well or to be able to create something that is really nicely done. So this is a project completed by one of our students. So this is a backpack. Maybe this will also give you an idea when you go store. So just to give a little bit of details, as in what I said earlier about each student curtailing the individual project to the skills level that they have. So this kind of construction itself is something that is a sample. So this is the kind of construction that we are teaching, right? So this is a very simple construction, but based on the students' skill sets or what they want to create, you can see that the basic idea is there, okay? But then the students come up with their own creativity, come out with their own initiative to come out with a different design. So you can see that the construction technique is the same, but the end result is different. So that's also part of the course, is in the basic way that you make the pattern is the same. You have a basic building block. From there, you learn how to take the pieces apart, or you add additional pieces into each pattern to come up with the design that you want. Okay. So right now, the student is making some patterns for the bag that we are making right now. And you can see on top is basically all the different projects that they created. And these students are have only been in the course for, I would say, about less than 2 months. Yeah. So you can see the amount of designs and bags that they're able to create. Okay, so I show you a little bit about the school as well as the courses itself. Hope that it was informative and helpful for you to make a decision. Um, the course itself, like I said, just to give you a rough idea, just to give you a recap, we will be starting the next course on the 24th of August. Okay, if you have more information on, or if you want to know more about the course itself, please find write us an email on the Scuola Academy's website. Okay, in the meantime, I'll look forward to seeing you in the very near future.